Good morning, everybody. Welcome to, well, this is the Daily Whatever Show, but it is Monday, so it is not straightforward with me,
Mm-mm.
Lawrence Winnerman, and the amazing Aidan Wharton.
Good morning, everybody.
How are you, my friend?
You know, since we're talking about queerness in media, I feel like it's a good time to talk about how I am as a metaphor. And it's like, in like every sort of great artist story where there's like
Okay,
the
I'm
montage.
laughing because I love this frame. Keep going, keep
Yeah.
going. I'm
There's
laughing
like
at you and with you and
if
in
we can't laugh at
adoration.
ourselves, what are we doing?
Right.
Um, like the scene, I'm thinking of like a painter biopic, or biopic. Which one is it? Whatever.
Whatever. I say
Um,
biopic.
okay, great. Where it's like, like 60% of the way through the movie, and it's like the crazy montage where everything is going like a little bit right, but also a lot wrong. And
Yeah.
there's like paint everywhere. There's high highs. There's sort of like crying in the shower. That's where I am in my
Oh,
life. I feel like no, but like in a good way.
right, right,
It's
right. Like,
just learning so many things and
right. Like a
that
little bit of creative exhaustion, but
a lot.
exhilaration, but
Hmm.
also like this deep urge to keep going because you know you're
Hmm.
on the right track. Okay, you know
That
what? Bro, same. Like I am kind of in the same place right now. And
okay.
yeah. I'm working on projects that I am not talking about on this show,
Hmm.
to be revealed at a future date.
We love a reveal.
Yeah, but I feel you. Like this is our time, you know?
I think so.
Yeah.
I One of my best friends told me a quote from Meg Stalter. I need to find out where she said this so I can actually attribute it correctly.
I mean, I'm gonna
But
assume it was on the set of Hacks as she was being
uh,
brilliant.
I wish my husband just learned that that's why she's like really really famous.
Oh,
I was like
okay.
showing him clips from it, and he's like, "Wait, that's why she's famous? I thought she was just famous from Instagram." I was like, "No, baby, she steals the show."
She got
Um.
Instagram discovered. Are you kidding? Like, how do
Mhm.
you not know that
Hi, Gay.
story?
Well,
Speaking of
that's what he
queerness in
knew.
media and
That's what he
culture.
knew.
Yeah.
Um, but Meg Salter, she basically says, like, I wish I had not been so preoccupied on focusing on making it that I didn't realize that I had already started to make it.
Mm,
So that's also sort of where I'm trying to like
right.
take stock of all the things that I've done and not just all the ways that I need to improve.
Right. So when they're making your biopic, this is going to be the cutscene where
Mm-hmm.
like you are showing some interiority
Mm-hmm.
and literally like speaking the truth as it's happening. I love
Like
that.
crying in this chair, being like, how do I do audio for a podcast? And
Right.
every time I do a new filming for Getting Close, which I did 3 last week, they've all been a little bit different, and so they've
Wow.
all had new surprises, and yesterday's was recording video with a different frame rate than the audio bit rate.
Oh my
So,
God. Okay. I
yeah.
know enough to know what you're talking about to know what a nightmare that is. That then afterwards you have to pair the audio and video together. Holy Christmas.
Mhm.
How
Thank
are
God
you
I
still
clapped on
living?
both ends, which I've never done before.
Yeah.
But like the clap at the beginning, I was like, perfect. And then by the end of the hour-long recording, it was like 3 seconds off. And we made it. We made it through. We figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
How are
Excellent.
you?
I am, you know, kind of a similar story.
Okay.
Again, my reveal that I'm not doing right now is I'm working on a big project. I will say this. I'm I'm using Claude, the AI,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
a the paid version of Claude,
Mm-hmm.
to work on something. And I mean, like my one-line summary would be mid-50s dude who kind of lost his career due to the creeping overreach of AI is rebuilding his life using AI and
Okay.
realizing how unbelievably fucked we all are with regard to not you because you are creative. Like there will always need to be a person to act out the, I mean, I suppose until they can make completely realistic
Yep.
Yeah, but like
Oh my God.
I will say this. This is not my reveal. I'm working on something right now. 5 years ago, it would have taken a team of 20 people and $1 million.
Yeah.
And right now, it's me and Claude and 2 weeks.
Hmm.
And and this is real. Like really, really real.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you feel, because this is always sort of my question, like, do you feel like it's having any adverse effects on you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I like I have lived the adverse effects, right? Like
Right.
I again,
I mean,
Gen
this
X.
process specifically, like the
um
process of, like, I really had to like have a sort of come to digital Jesus moment where I was like, "Ooh, I'm using this too much. I'm using this in a way where I am offloading my own brain power." I like
yeah.
really had to reel it back for myself. Have you
Yeah.
noticed like any changes in that realm?
Yeah, I will say this. I'm having multiple experiences at the same time, right?
Sure.
Like on the one hand, I am feeling unbelievably liberated by the fact that my 25-year career that is comprised of many skills across,
Mhm.
let's just say the kind of entirety of web content, project management, site
Right.
development, blah, blah, blah. I can do it all.
Mhm.
I can do everything.
Right.
Like I am a one-man band with, a digital pantheon of helpers. And
Mm.
I see Dr. Amber Hull is here in the chat saying fuck AI, right? And fuck AI because I know what the cost is in data centers, in electricity, in fresh water, in billionaire tech bro crazy fuckheads
Mhm.
who are basically painting a, you know, tech feudalism future picture where, you know, Sam Altman from OpenAI, just last week or 2 weeks ago said that he sees a future where intelligence is a utility on demand, like water or electricity, and that we pay for it by the minute, like it's metered. You pay
He's
for as
saying some
much.
like crazy, crazy things. When people ask him about the environmental impact, he goes, "Well,
Right,
look at how much of an environmental impact it takes to raise a human. That's 20 years worth of water. That's 20 years worth of food." And I was
right,
like, "What?"
right. I'm like, bro, like my presence at the, birth of silicon based intelligence, while potentially inspiring, does not overwrite all human needs for all
Right.
time, right? Like, is it cool that maybe we're building something that will have its own, consciousness and intelligence? As a science fiction writer, yes, I must admit that is fucking
Yeah.
cool. But in reality, as a human who still needs clean water and, electricity so that I can podcast with my buddies and, have a good time, yeah, I'm not thrilled that we're
Yeah.
putting digital primacy above everything else. Like that, it's freaking me out.
Well, and like you look at the layoffs that are all happening right now too, where the layoffs happen or the layoffs are announced, and then the stock prices are all jumping up
Right.
because the companies are now much more profitable if they don't have to pay 14,000, 40,000, 1,500 employees.
And I'm literally doing that right now, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
working on something that, again, I'm not kidding when I say 5 years ago, 4 years ago, what I am doing right now would have taken a team of 20 people and $1 million.
Mhm.
And and those jobs don't exist, right? And what's happening is those companies are laying people off and not hiring anybody else because they're all having this sort of, come to digital Jesus moment where I'm stealing your line because it was really
Please
good.
do.
And realizing, oh, we don't need a team of QA people. We just
Yeah.
spin up versions of the agent, of the digital agent. We assign it a persona and it tests the website on its own, pretending to be any one of our user personas that we've already defined.
Yeah.
Right? Like that shit is scary.
Yeah, one, it's like, again, it is just going to keep going,
Right.
and I
Somebody
do wonder where we
s-
go from here.
somebody said something. I wish I could. I'll find this and like properly attribute it. But it was this really profound thing. It was somebody who said, if you look at the scope and scale of human technology and
Mhm.
technological acceleration, right? Like there was the agricultural revolution, and then like I don't know, like the Iron Age, like, and
Yeah.
then we got to the Industrial Revolution, and then when you start looking at it on a timeline, you know, then we got to things like the computer and mobile telephony and the internet, and any one of these things would have been a revolutionary age in its
What
own
was the
right.
second one? Mobile telephony?
Yeah,
Like mobile
like
phones.
yeah, being
Great, great,
able to
great.
like take your little supercomputer around with you everywhere, and you can
Mhm.
call anyone in the world and also access any piece of it, like,
Yep.
and they compound, right? Like they're building on each other and they're happening faster. And so any normal person in the arc of human history would have lived through maybe one technological
Right.
revolution, right? We are living through like five or six, and they're happening faster to the point now where they will just be continuous.
Right.
Because part of what happens with AI is you get into an age where it never stops being an industrial revolution,
No.
you know? And so, yeah, like, I don't know how humans live in that environment.
Well, and like even now, I use Notion, which is sort of like an all-in-one.
Sure, I know Notion.
Okay, great. But now they're like, night agent, your AI never stops working.
Right,
And I'm like, no, 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 no. This is too many things. This is too many things. Have you read Three Body Problem?
of course.
Which I think that is sort of like the most fascinating thing where they talk about human evolution as an exponential graph
Yeah,
and how since they have to keep starting over, they can't keep up with us. And like, what do you do in that way? And yet, as also a huge science fiction nerd, I have such conflict because, like the remake of Battlestar Galactica, what they do so well is humanize and talk about like, well, what does it mean to be human?
right,
And in that show, I was so on the side of the Cylons. And now I'm like, wait, no, I don't know.
right.
I don't know. I
Wait,
think
the
I'm
Cylons are
not there.
hot.
I know. Oh my god,
Sex was
they
so hot.
are. They are. That was like part of my real like gay awakening. And like my I don't even know what awakening.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Such a good show.
no, I know. I, oh God, I'm not supposed to reveal. I'm recording myself on Loom, like doing this
Okay.
project because
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it is interesting, and I was just this morning. In fact, I was talking to Claude, and I was saying,
Mhm.
I need you to create a skill that does this, and I need you to instantiate, it said, I'm going to instantiate a couple versions of myself and do that simultaneously. And I was
Okay.
like, oh my God, if I could
Right.
instantiate another version of myself, and I was like, well, I'd fuck myself first, is what I
Right.
would do. And then,
Duh.
and then we would go tag team a bunch of dudes, and then maybe we would like actually get some work done
Right.
simultaneously, But like, and then I was like, this is why the machines are going to win. We can't stop thinking about our dicks.
Sure. Well, wait, okay, you know what was crazy is yes, to a generational degree. So I was having a conversation with some friends last night. Do you know who clavicular is?
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay,
The
see, I did not. I had no idea
Okay,
who this guy was. And for the chat, for everyone listening, like he is I think he's like what, like 22, like look maxer who like breaks his bones to reshape, like is trying to be the paragon of masculinity. And I was watching an interview that he did, and they say, would you rather lose your hair or your dick? And without missing a beat, he goes, oh, my dick. I would look so bad without my hair. I would look the same without my dick. And I do think like there is this shift among Gen Z and lower men because they're not having sex as much, that like that doesn't matter anymore. And there's like this whole movement away from coupledom relationship in general that is just like so disturbing.
Wow. Oh my. I mean, I literally cannot conceive. And
Right.
you know, I, you know, kind of message to the straight women in the audience. I think what you get through Aiden and I talking to each other right now is perhaps a view into how men think about their penises, which I'm not sure that straight men. I mean, I think straight men tell you every day how they feel about
Right.
that. They clearly prioritize it over everything else. Um, I don't know. All men, I think.
Well, it's fun. Dr. Amber Hall says I have a theory that that kid is a closet queer, and
Absolutely.
it could be, but also again, we are in this weird gender moment where if you talk about transgender, and not like transgender, but transgender, that is sort of this like thing that people can't wrap their head around. Why would you ever want to change your gender away from what you were meant to be? Strong air quotes. But when it's the other direction and when it's all this gender affirming care that promotes these really rigid hierarchical definitions of sex and gender, that
Mhm.
is totally fine. But it does become this strange sort of like Hunger Games esque, just like refinement. And like
Right.
I've seen videos where the girls are like, no, I got a nose job and I got my jaw done so that my kid looks as cute as I do. And I'm like, that's not how genetics work.
Right, sweetie,
We're
it's not
fucked.
epigenetics. Come on. I mean, not yet,
Yeah.
right? Like maybe one day, but not now, sweetie. So, side note, $1 million idea
Okay.
for us, confidential to you. I think we should start a business selling like silver or gold-plated hammers, right? That are specifically like we'll
For
call them
the
the
uh-huh.
clavicular,
Yep.
right? And
Mhm.
they're specially designed to break your cheekbones with. I mean,
It's
you know,
just so wild.
it
Yeah,
makes as
there's a
much
really
sense.
good article about because I see Karen's putting it in the another one in the chat. It's Clavicular the Radical Submissive, which is written by my friend JP Brammer for
Mm.
Playboy. And it is brilliant. It is a beautiful, beautiful piece of writing.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I am intrigued. I want to check that
Yeah.
out for sure. But this kind of gets up to our topic of queerness and culture, right?
It so does.
Yeah.
It's
Good job
everywhere.
segueing.
Thanks. I'm really trying to learn how to be a good host.
You made it look so natural. Look at you.
I'm learning from the best, Lawrence. Come on.
Ah, come on, come on. Flattery.
I mean, it'll
Keep
get you
going.
everywhere.
But so we talked about, well, I mean we didn't talk about. We sort of like last minute we're like, what are we going to talk about? Holy shit, we don't have a guest.
Hmm.
But I think queerness and culture, and it goes along with a piece that I'm working on for my other thing where like I think the trend is accelerating, right? Like I think that queerness and culture has kind of hit a moment where um we could look at it on a timeline and say more queer shit is happening in culture faster. And I mean, for me, part of that is like looking at data. So, do you know what percentage of Gen X identifies as LGBTQIA plus?
Okay. If it gets bigger with each generation, and the number in my head for millennials is 10%, I'm going to go with lower than 10%.
5%. You are
Okay, great.
correct. Yeah. What
Math.
is it for Gen Z?
I'm going to say like 15, maybe.
23%.
Okay, so we're just doubling with each generation
Kinda.
ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and obviously, like, I, I think a lot of that is people being more comfortable with the idea of gender, sexuality as a spectrum,
Hmm.
right? Like, easier for the B piece of that equation to be like, oh,
Right.
sure, I'm bi. Like, I've, thought about sucking my buddy's dick, so sure, I'll claim
Hmm.
it. But of course, a big piece of it is the fact that, gay and lesbian and trans folks are feeling more comfortable to own their identities at a younger age as well.
Hmm.
And that's naturally being reflected in culture. And I think, like Heartstopper is a great example
Sure.
of sort of a, a sweet love story, a sweet gay love story that kind of made it as a graphic novel, made it as a, as a Netflix series, right?
Right.
Um, but the thing that really made me want to talk about this with you today is, and I don't want the entire thing necessarily to be about heated rivalry, but there was a way in which heated rivalry treated gay sexuality that for me was revolutionary. I'm
Yeah.
curious, what was your experience? I guess, have you watched it? One,
Duh.
I mean, sure, right? Like, hey, baby, there's kind of this softcore porn TV show on. Do you want to watch it with me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course. But like, what was it like for you? Because you and I are definitely different generations. We've had
Yeah.
different coming out experiences. What was it like for you watching it and seeing just like, oh wow, they're really fucking. Like they're kind of talking about top and bottom and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was also revol. Am I going to say revolutionary? Really incredibly beautifully done in how
Mm-hmm.
it depicted a gay relationship. Um, and yeah, I mean, I wept for so many reasons. And it did feel remarkably true to the gay experience that I'm really familiar with. And I understand that that is not the gay experience or even queer experience that everyone else is really familiar with.
Right.
And I think it is fascinating what it has done to our cultural zeitgeist in like every single way, from how it got made to how it got produced to the discourse around it when it was out to the fandom to the like whole conversation around Connor Story and Francois. Like it is like really unique. And I think I would push back against you on this
Mm.
in that I actually don't think it is indicative of what is happening with queer representation in media at all.
Say more.
So the GLAAD Awards, or not the GLAAD Awards, but GLAAD every year does their sort of state of media,
Right.
and queer representation in film and TV is actually like really, really, really strongly declining.
Wow. Okay.
And it has sort of over the years, but like this year especially, like, oh, I can't remember the exact statistic, but I want to say something of like 40% of shows with primary queer characters got canceled. Um,
Wow.
and like that is the really, really granular data that they find every year. And so more so almost than like what does it say about queer media? It's like what does it say about our culture? Like I'm really curious, and I would love actually for the chat to chime in on this. Like what it is about heated rivalry specifically and about gay male romance written by women that really appeals to women. And then what I found really fascinating, especially in all the discourse around the rumors about Connor Story and Francois dating, and all of the majority straight women, I might be wrong on this, who are coming after that relationship and like telling Francois to kill himself and all of this like really vitriolic hate
Okay.
from a culture that doesn't understand the culture that they are really inhabiting and obsessing over.
I think I need you to tell me what's going on in the
Ah,
goss because I don't think I know this piece.
okay, so I don't know like I should have done a little bit more research. I don't know like the entire like detail, but as the press run and everything that's been happening and the obsession over all of them has really
Mm-hmm.
taken storm, there is been talk about whether or not Francois, who plays, oh, what is his name?
Scott. Right.
Scott in the show was dating Connor Story, or if there was some relationship there.
Right. Okay. And
And
which one is Connor Story? Just
uh Russian,
okay.
Ilya.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it became sort of this like hunt, right? To find out the truth. And then it became really toxic when a lot of the primarily, I'm actually going to not assign a category, but it became really toxic when they accused Francois of grooming, of manipulating, of all this thing because of the age gap.
Hmm.
But like age gaps are really common in queer relationships. They're 3 times more common in queer relationships than they are straight relationships. I
Right.
think queer people have a very different take on them than straight people. And it became so vitriolic that people were telling him to kill himself both Francois and Hudson, who plays the other main guy whose names I'm all forgetting right now,
Right.
they had to come out and be like, you guys, this is not okay in any way.
Jesus.
And yeah, that's the extent of my knowledge of what's happening.
Yeah.
I might
Okay.
be
I'm
leaving some
clearly not up
details
to
out.
speed on the hot gossip side of things for
Yeah.
this. Yeah. God, that's fascinating. I mean, there's so many roads we could go down with that. Uh, especially as a mid-50s dude whose last two relationships have been with guys in their 30s. Like,
Shane, thank you. Yeah.
talk to me about an age gap, right? Like,
Right. And as
yeah.
someone who like primarily, before I met my husband, dated a decade older, I'm like that just isn't, it doesn't have the same levels of taboo that it does for straight couples, and yet it still has a remarkable amount of triggering emotional responses in people.
Sure.
I posted
Yeah.
like a reel about age gaps over the summer, not even thinking about it, and it blew up with the most heated comments on either side.
Yeah. Fascinating. Okay, clearly I need to go like do a gossip search. I need to do a gossip deep dive after we're done here. But I mean, okay, so seeing representation though in
Right.
heated rivalry, a big deal, right? And
Huge
and
deal.
I think you talked about you touched on this topic that I wanted to dig into a little bit, which was this is a story written by a woman, right? Like this was a book
Mm-hmm.
written by a female author who I haven't read the book. I've
Yeah.
obviously seen the show, but I think did kind of a remarkably good job in terms
Yeah.
of describing, in broad brush strokes, like what gay relationships in this instance look like.
Mm-hmm.
And what was refreshing for me was, my takeaway from watching the show, in addition to the representation, and oh my God, they're actually kind of showing gay sex. But it was, how do I say this right? All of the characters were obviously dealing with concealment, right? Because
Right.
they're athletes playing at the top of their game in a sport that's pretty homophobic, and it's set kind of back in the past a bit. But there wasn't the earlier gay characters in media were often the like, oh god, I'm completely broken, why do I
Right.
even exist, I'm going to kill myself or move off to the land of misfit toys or die of AIDS, right?
Mm-hmm.
and and there was none of that, right? Like
Right.
the guys were conflicted, but like Shane, that's the name of the Hudson character,
Yeah.
you can see that he's obviously got a conflict. But it isn't because he's ashamed of being gay
Right.
necessarily. It's because he's a control freak. And
Right.
this is a thing that he can't control. Right. And so, like, there was a moment when I was watching it. I think it was the scene where they're meeting at the cabin. And I
Mm.
don't know what it was about the scene that made me, it really clicked for me like, oh, he's not disgusted by the fact that, there's no internalized homophobia.
Right.
There's no wanting to be different, at
Mm-hmm.
least that we could tell. It was he wants to be in control of his life, and he's not in control of this relationship, of how he's
Right.
feeling about this guy. And when they're together, he's just not in control at all because he's a bottom, right? Because he wants to, because he wants to be
Right.
submissive, to
But also
Ilya.
like, and how beautifully that was shown, where it's like, if somebody is in control their whole life, what a beautiful area of freedom and release to be like, oh, great, just tell me what to do.
Right. So, yeah. Daddy,
In a
just
way
throw me
that's
around.
not like gratuitously kinky,
Right.
like again, like all of that felt really authentic to me.
Yeah.
And like I think, yeah, it's also interesting, like the platform of it all like matters, like no one would be having any of these conversations if it hadn't gotten picked up by HBO,
Right.
you know? And I feel like it's also sort of like why, because it was written, yeah, by Rachel Reed, who I do think is a queer woman, and then adapted by a gay man. And like it just like has all of these really fascinating contradictions in and of itself. And I'm like, I think this case study is probably already being studied because, again, now that it has been so successful, companies are going to try to figure out how to copy it and how to
Right.
monetize it. Like,
Right.
was it the gay? Was it the sex? Was it a one-time fluke? Was
Right.
it,
Was it
who
lightning in a
knows?
bottle, never to be
Yeah.
captured again? Yeah.
You
I,
know,
I'm curious because and this is, I don't know, not a topic shift necessarily. Maybe a segue. I don't know. I
I'll bring
shouldn't
it
try
back
to
if it
name
is.
these
Come
things
on.
as they're
Yeah.
happening. But I was excited to talk to you about this, Aiden, because you are a theater guy, right? Like you're
Hmm.
deeply passionate about theater and musicals and, kind of living that from the inside. And I'm curious if you are seeing a trend, have seen a trend in theater, because like here's my frame of reference, right? Like I
Yeah.
absolutely grew up with Angels in America, right? Like
Right.
that, they're sort of everything before that was, theater, anything that included queerness was
Hmm.
hinted at, like it was a, I don't know, like a handkerchief drop, it
Right.
was not, definitely not the main story, definitely not the main character. If anything, it was a snicker, it was a laugh line,
Hmm.
it was a wink and a nod. And then Angels in America happened, and there was sort of this like, explosion of like raw emotion and, like the gay experience. And I
Yeah.
say gay intentionally because I
Yeah.
think lesbianism, like being a lesbian, being trans in theater happened way later.
Hmm.
I'm just curious, like, when you think of this from the construct of theater, like, what do you think is happening in culture? Have you seen a difference and a change?
I think that, like, I'm trying to think of the upcoming season that's happening right now. And I
Hmm.
think my take on theater is that it has either become queerness, ha- blah, blah, rewind. Queerness has either become really ingrained in the nature of the show or it's not in the show. But it doesn't really have as much of like a statement piece. I think about Angels, I think about The Inheritance, I think about these really intensely gay, queer. I'm like, those are the only two I can think of right now. So forgive me, chat, and everyone who loves gay theater. But like I think about, I'm thinking musicals like Death Becomes Her, which is super queer. The opening number is I Do It for the Gays. And it's like so embracing of being gay, but it's not about being gay. But that's in the show. I'm thinking of like
Right,
Titanic, which again is like so gay, but not about being gay.
right,
I would say the difference is like the new Cats the Jellicle Ball is, like, in my opinion, the most like revolutionary piece of theater I've seen. I haven't seen the new version, but I saw it off Broadway. And that is like capital Q queer in a way that educates and entertains and reinvents. Like, it is
hmm,
so brilliant. But then you have, the plays, the only plays that can get done are plays with massive megastars, and they play those really safe. So they're super straight. Death of a Salesman, uh I forget like what else is coming up. There's another like very sort of like rah straight man play coming out. So yeah, I feel like it's either embedded into the world of the show, which comes from very like TikTok culture,
right.
or it's not a part of it at all.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? And interesting to hear. So I haven't seen Death Becomes Her, the musical.
Hmm.
For me, like that was a great iconic movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely part of like the queer cultural
Hmm.
canon. Um, but the movie is not particularly queer. The movie doesn't
Right.
include any reference to like I do it for the gays. Like that's
Right.
not in there at all. I mean,
And it technically it is GAZE, but then of course it is like it's a brilliant show. When you come visit, we're gonna go see it.
nice.
But I also think that when it was being made, they were like, this movie is a cult classic because of gay people.
Yeah.
And, not we may be, the queer community may be small, but we are very impactful when it comes to taste making.
Yeah.
And like I think they wouldn't be able to have made the show if they made it as straight as the movie was.
I think that's an
Like, it
amazing
is
take,
camp. It is just beyond.
right? Because the movie is camp.
Right.
Not intent, or I don't know, maybe they intended, maybe they knew what they were doing when they were making that movie. You know, I think um, Goldie Hawn and Meryl Streep
Mhm.
were playing at camp, you know.
Yeah.
I think because they were trying to, you know, mimic All About Eve and right kind of the
Mhm.
campiness of those early movies. Um, but it is interesting the point that you just made about it was intentionally made gayer coming to the
Right.
theater because people recognized that it was the queer following that kept it, you know, that made it a cult classic, and also
Mhm.
because we have kind of an outsized influence when it comes to, you know, taste making
Right.
and culture creation.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
And, like, it's also an interesting time because, you look at the life cycle of a musical now, starts in workshops, starts in small rooms, goes to, like, a developmental lab, does maybe an off-Broadway run somewhere, like, in La Jolla at San Diego or the Old Globe or in Seattle, comes to Broadway, then usually loses all of its money, goes on tour, recoups the money very quickly on tour because tours are going out much cheaper than they used to.
Hmm.
That's where they make the money, and then it goes to regional theaters and they get money through rights. So Broadway now is more of a massive advertisement. And so producers and investors also have to think about the life post Broadway. And you have to then think that the market for a Broadway show is no longer just New York and tourists, it's the entire country. And so, like, when I traveled with Girl from the North Country, which did not do well on Broadway and did not do well on tour, but we recouped really quickly.
Hmm.
And,
Well,
you
$1 million idea number two.
great.
After we our successful line of silver hammers named after clavicular,
Yep.
you need to do a paid series on like decoding. Like, I just learned more about how theater in this country and Broadway really works in 2 minutes from you than I think I had ever understood previously. Like, I would
It's wild.
seriously pay to watch you talk for an hour about how it
Okay.
actually works behind the scenes.
Oh my god, we
Come on,
should
chat, back me
let's do
up.
it for a show.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I could have oh my god, we could have my husband on who has been in 8 Broadway shows.
Absolutely. Then we're doing that
Um,
for sure. Coming
Great.
soon to a Monday near you.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Um, but the just like to like put the bow on that. And Juliet, which came out, I want to say like 5 years ago at this point, right after COVID, which is the story of Juliet after Romeo and Juliet. If she doesn't die, she decides not to kill herself. And then she sort of goes on this adventure to the music of Max Martin. So it's like Katy Perry's Firework, Roar, uh, like a bunch of Pinks. Like, he wrote so many songs, and the
Hmm.
catalog is crazy. It's a really interesting jukebox musical. And one of the main characters, May, is non-binary. And they talk about how gender in Shakespeare's time was so fluid that this actually makes so much sense. And I thought it's a fascinating show because you have all these people coming for this like pop music. So you have a lot of tourists who are like, I want to see this fun pop show.
Right.
And then you're delivering through it this non-binary character that is really beautifully done, really like emotionally done. And yet when they took it on tour, that is like the moment in the show when you have hecklers, you have people walking out, you have people shouting from the audience like
Oh
really
no.
cruel things. And the tour is ending pretty soon, I think. But again, it's like you have it just is like such a different world that we live in now. And I think shows think about that.
Yeah. I'm the visual of I came because I wanted to hear the Katy Perry fireworks song. I didn't
Yeah.
need a lecture on non-binary,
Mhm.
oh
Well, I mean,
God.
when so for the chat, I toured with Girl from the North Country. It's this really depressing Bob Dylan musical, but I did it on Broadway and I fucking love it. And I wanted to take it on the road. But what happens is a lot of the touring houses do subscriptions. So you buy a package for all of the shows of the season.
Hmm.
And what would happen is people would come, sit through Act One, not like it, and leave in droves for Act Two.
Oh no.
And so we would walk, and we like the lights are up at the top of Act Two, and we sort of like walk out to the audience, and we would just be like, "Oh no!"
Right.
And it
Not
really like
again.
hardened us in like a nice way.
Yeah.
But again, because these people don't care about the money because it's already spent. And so they
Right.
come expecting, we were in the season with Anne Juliet or Mrs. Doubtfire. And so they're coming expecting something lovely. And if they don't like it, they're like, what the fuck?
Right. Oh
The
god.
reviews, if you want to laugh, the reviews for Girl from the North Country, the tour, are brutal. And we had a fun time reading them.
I was gonna say, how did you deal with that? I know that you have to harden yourself, right? But like,
It
man,
was,
I'm a sensitive
yeah.
soul. I can't read my copy.
I will say it was the only show that I've ever done where every criticism was the intention of the director and writer, Connor McPherson, who I would work with. I would go back to acting to work with him in a heartbeat. He's just brilliant. And being able to watch him on Broadway, coming out of COVID, do the live taping, and then set the tour. Like he just like is so trusting of his own work that when the tour cast came in, he's like, yeah, let's change it. Let's try things. Let's do new stuff. Like I'm not precious about this. But he's like, the stuff that I am precious of, he's like, these characters are not kind. It was set during the Depression in winter in Duluth, Minnesota. He's like, these people are struggling. These people are miserable. They're not likable. And the show should never feel good. The show should be a brutal play. And the musical moments, which are sort of like out of time and space,
Mhm.
should feel like this catharsis, the only catharsis in the show. And so you leave being like, wow, life is so hard and depressing and sad, but
Right.
also kind of beautiful.
Right.
And not a lot of people like vibed with that. And I was totally okay because I could say to any critique, that was the point.
Right. Yeah.
Which as opposed to being in some bad shows where they're like, ooh, that wasn't good. And I'm like, I know.
Yeah. It's like, have you seen the movie The Unbearable Lightness of Being? It's an
No.
older
I've heard
one,
of it.
80s, 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, Milan Kundera was the author of the book. Yes, one of those things where you're like, wow, that was really beautifully done, and I think I want to die now because I
Yeah.
am not sure what the point of living is.
And that is exactly how people felt when they left the show.
Yeah,
I will
wow.
say we did a live capture of it on Broadway, which I think is like streaming on maybe Broadway HD or like it was on PBS, great performances. And in my opinion, that is sort of the pivotal like capturing of the show. It's just really, really well done. And because it's a live capture of the show, you can actually like tell where to focus in a way that moves the story in a really a much more cohesive way than seeing it on stage. So if anyone's bored and wants to do it or wants to watch it, it's a good one.
Mhm.
If you want to be
Right.
sad.
Yeah. Okay, this is totally not on our topic,
Spinning.
but
We went all the way.
we went all the way, and I'm going to go even further.
Great.
I haven't taken myself to the movies in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
This weekend, I went to go see Project Hail Mary.
Ooh, I'm seeing it next weekend.
Okay, oh my God. I
Oh, I
laughed, I
cannot
cried. It became a
wait.
part of me. I want to see it again and again. It's much better
Yep.
than Cats.
Mm-hmm. I will reflect on that once I've seen them both.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm quoting an old Saturday Night Live skit.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go.
I don't remember the whole setup. I think it's like the guy is a hypnotist, like a stage
Uh-huh.
hypnotist, and so they're doing like the in persons after the show, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, "It was incredible. I laughed. I cried. It became a part of me. I want to see it again and again. It is much better than Cats."
Oh, I'm gonna have to go do my homework now. I missed it.
uh,
Yeah, no, I listened to the book, I read the book and
yeah,
loved
I
it.
read the book.
I think Andy Weir has an exceptional way of making science really fascinating.
Absolutely, and this is like if you loved the Martian, this
Mhm.
is like that amped up to 11.
Mm.
Like
Ooh,
really
I've
deeply
got
developed
chills.
character. I mean, I really did laugh. I really did cry. It is the first time in a long time that I've been in a movie theater where at the end everyone clapped
Wow.
in Fort Wayne, Indiana for a movie about science.
All right. There's hope.
There's hope. There's hope in this world.
It's hard for
But
me to go see movies now because everyone's on their phones.
right, isn't that annoying?
Yeah.
Like
It's
nobody
I like
knows.
really grapple with that as like somebody who wants a communal experience. But like I feel like every show on Broadway that I go see too, I have to tell at least one person to put their phone away.
Right. Like, bro, you're at a movie, you're at a show. Grinder can wait. I know it feels like
Can
it
it?
can't,
Yeah.
but it can.
What is your favorite queer movie?
Wow. Okay, you stumped
Come
me.
on, you had to, that was like the easiest thing.
I
You
right,
had to
right.
have prepped that question for today.
Uh, um I don't know why Amelie's explicitly not a
Hmm.
queer movie in any way, right?
I mean,
But
it is to you.
it 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 is the first thing that kind of came to my mind.
Yeah.
Um, I
Also made
think
into a
because like,
musical.
is it now a musical?
It
Oh my god,
was in like 2017. Did not do well.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
right. There's a piece of me that sort of loves the idea that somebody was like, we could turn anything into a musical. I do like the adventurism of that, and
Hmm.
also
Well,
maybe
here's
not
another
everything.
fun fact for you. Most theatrical like distributors like Warner Brothers or Disney, they have a theatrical arm and the whole point is to turn their most successful IP into musicals.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
Honestly, we're doing that show because
Great.
I'm learning so much about like the way things actually work.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, okay. I mean, I guess I'm of a generation where I kind of have to say Priscilla, right? Because
Sure.
I absolutely remember vividly when it came out and going to see it and just the like that was like I don't want to say I was sheltered, but
Mhm.
never truly been exposed to drag before, and the way that
Sure.
movie sort of introduces the concepts of drag and transgenderism in the same space and
Yeah.
kind of subtly teaches you the difference of like, oh, these guys are just gay and they're doing drag. But
Mhm.
for I can't remember main character's name, Terrence Stamp character, but she's a woman, like in
Yeah.
transition, basically.
Right.
Um,
Which
yeah,
was also turned into a musical.
has
Which,
been.
and I will say it has been. Yeah, yeah.
I
Just
mean,
because like now we're also sort of like doing all media. What was really fascinating is so Some Like It Hot was also turned into a musical.
hmm,
And they took the humor of that and for one of the characters made it about learning that they were non-binary and learning to embrace this gender in a way that like really clearly I think took audience members who were coming in expecting the movie and
right.
taught them something about queerness and acceptance that was just so good.
Amazing. Okay. My favorite all time conversion of something into a musical
Okay.
is The Simpsons episode where they do Streetcar Named Desire as a musical. And if you have not seen it, my friend, you are
No.
in for the treat of your life. It is fucking hilarious. The ways in which they mangle and misrepresent the story by turning it into a musical. Like, I don't want to spoil it for you, but the final number
Uh-huh.
after Blanche goes crazy,
Mhm.
and Marge is playing Blanche, right?
Obviously.
And she's singing, "You can always depend on the kindness of strangers to keep you from trouble, protect you from danger." Like, like
Oh my
it
god.
is so wrong. It is right.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Yeah, it is sublime, honestly.
Mhm. All right.
Stella, can't you hear me yell? You're putting
Oh
me
my
through
god.
hell. Stella.
That must've been so much fun to write.
Honestly, I think they probably had the time of their lives writing that one.
Yeah.
It's like, like cheap ass community theater group does a musical of Streetcar Named
Mhm.
Desire and gets it all wrong.
Have you ever done a musical?
No,
Oh,
no.
hey, you never know.
Yes, I appreciate you for asking. My ability to like be on stage and be on camera
Mhm.
and be ridiculous and do things like sing, even though I'm
Yeah.
not a singer. I don't know if you noticed this, Aiden. I'm going to confess something to you. I'm not a singer.
Hey, you could have fooled me.
Currently, I'm not currently a singer.
Sure.
Hope springs eternal. I keep waiting. Like at some point, I'm gonna like suck the right dick that's gonna knock my vocal cords into place, right?
So
And suddenly, I'm gonna open my mouth and be like, me. He did it.
again, maybe you're just singing the wrong stuff. It's all about
Probably.
finding the range. It's all about finding who you are, what resonates with you.
Yeah, I cannot find my range, honestly. Like I
Okay.
got one of those apps that's basically like,
Mm-hmm.
like yell at the top of your lungs,
Yep.
say this and it's like you're a bass. And I'm like, sure, but there is this weird falsetto thing that my voice can do, and a lot of the shit that I like is in that register. So,
Yeah. Well, that tracks. Like for basses especially, they have a really strong lower, not a great middle, or not like a solid middle, and then a good
oh,
falsetto.
my middle is so weak, and it makes me
Yeah.
crazy because everything is basically like produced in that range, right?
Sure.
Yeah. I was going somewhere and we completely
And
got
I went
sidetracked. But I mean, where went anyway, let's talk about music in our
musicals.
last couple of
Yeah.
minutes, right? Like,
Wait. Okay. Wait. Can I derail us one more time?
yeah, of course.
Just because when I was thinking about this, I had a conversation with my friends Christian and Nick, and Casey was there last night as well. But Nick asked this question that I thought was really interesting that sort of pointed at this conversation about queerness and culture. And he asks like if we're allowed to have secrets anymore as
Hmm,
people and as a culture. And I think so much of queerness in media revolves, especially in the past, like, in like the early aughts, was about the secret of being gay, the secret
right.
of being queer. Now with social media, like we're not allowed to have any secrets. There's articles about like every aspect of queer life in major publications. And it really, I feel like, makes people wonder. They also said it in relation to K-pop Demon Hunter, which I think is about like unleashing your secrets, which I haven't
Right.
seen yet. But do you think that secrets are important to have?
This is a really interesting question. I'm glad you asked it because I think about this a lot, actually.
Okay.
I feel like gay people, queer people writ large, right? But gay men
Hmm.
specifically, I think um I like that we don't have to have secrets anymore, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out like a graceful way to say this. There's something in my character that makes me want to push the boundary of sharing everything, right? Like
Sure.
there's this weird
Sure.
compulsion that I
Yeah.
have to like, share everything. Um, Probably something in the DSM-3, I'm sure, right? Something diagnosable. But like there is a piece of me that when Fusen and I were doing Dirty Talk,
Hmm.
there were times that we would talk about like, what does it take to bottom? Like, what does it take
Right.
to get ready? Like, how do you suck the biggest dick? Like, and I like talking about that stuff because
Yeah.
I think that it makes us as a society healthier and more robust. If the things
Hmm.
that could be used against us, right,
Sure.
are revealed to be like, no, like gay sex is it honestly, it's a lot like straight sex. It's really not that different. Here's the thing that's different, right?
Right.
But it's not like straight people don't have anal sex, and so the
Mhm.
things we're talking about here are the same for straight people who are
Right.
having it, like it's so I personally feel like we're better off overall having fewer secrets. I'm curious
Sure.
what your friend was thinking of in terms of like the secrets that we're keeping, right? Or that are no longer there.
I'm gonna take it from not how he thought about it, but how I thought about it, which
Sure.
is like there was a piece about sniffies in the New York Times,
Yeah.
the New Yorker last summer. There was a piece in the Cut about like peak gay sluttiness that talked about like the drug use and all of this, and it brought me back to this. I'm gonna try to say this as quickly as possible. This Craigslist podcast episode I listened to on Reply All that was really incredible about a girl who ran away from home, got sold into sex trafficking. Her mom made this huge campaign to find her. They found her on a website called backdoor.com. there was this huge push to shut down backdoor.com.
I remember.
And then also that went into Craigslist personals and shut down all of that. And that's the first half of the podcast. So you're like, yes, no more sex trafficking. This is really bad. And then the second half is what that does to sex workers and how sex workers use Craigslist to vet their clients. Every time Craigslist personals would introduced in a city, the number of female homicides would decrease, not sex worker homicides, just female homicides. And there was like a direct correlation of like 17%. And so that was this really interesting thing about how like once a very small subset of queer experience gets exposed to the global world, it can have really adverse reactions. And so when that Sniffies piece came out, I was like, what is this going to do for all of these, say, Upper West Side moms, Upper East Side moms, to know that cruising is happening all around them?
Right.
And then lo and behold, there was this
them.
huge sting at Penn Station where all of these undercover cops busted all of these men cruising in the bathrooms.
Right.
And so that's like my, like, you know, some secrets for our community are protective, you know, holding a secret about a beautiful place so that it doesn't get trampled when it becomes a tourist destination.
Sure.
But I also, I'm like, I love talking about everything because if I don't have shame about it,
yeah.
you can't hold it to me.
Right. Right. You can't use it against me. But that is an exceptionally good point, right? Like, and I've thought the same thing about Sniffies of like,
sure.
Oh, you know, do I, you know, just for shits and giggles, do I open Sniffies
Right.
and show my family the density of queer people around us, you know,
Right.
looking to hook up?
And that's not like a shame thing. It's a containing the ecosystem like for us.
Right. Right. No, exactly. Like it is. I remember being a kid, right? Coming to terms, or not coming to terms with, you know, struggling with my queerness and imagining, you know, like, God, if only there were a way that, like, there was something around gay men that I could see that nobody else could see so
Right.
that I would know it was safe to hit on them, right? Well, and there is now. It's this. It's your phone, right? And that is valuable. Like it is something that is important to the community because it keeps secrets in the right way.
Right.
So it's a great point. It's a great point. You know, and at the same time, I'm not even remotely surprised that the New Yorker did an article on Sniffies and people freaked out about it because it's sex on
I don't
demand.
know if they did, but also like Sniffies, like they interviewed Sniffies. Like Sniffies was like, oh my God, what good publicity. And I ended up talking to the CEO that summer and he's like, yeah, we wanted that good publicity because all of the other publicity we have is like 39-year-old pastor meets 16-year-old kid through Sniffy. Like, you know, he's like,
right.
So it is just like so nuanced.
Yeah.
Okay, but music.
But music, right? We got to round out. We got to round out on music. I'm just right off the bat going to go with Chapel Roan, right? Like we're talking about queerness and culture. We're talking about, you know, queerness in media. I think Chapel Roan was a revelation to me because I try to keep abreast of current music. And I got wildly divergent musical tastes. Like there's a little bit from everything that I like. Chapel Roan was the first artist that I heard that, to me, unapologetically embraced her queerness, right? Like it was just right there in the music, you know, right there in the lyrics, not even subtle. And you know, like, what's your take? And I know we're at time, but we've only got a couple of minutes left. Like, I want to hear, like, what's your 2-minute?
Yeah, I mean, my like very small little lovely humble brag, which is so dumb about Chapel, is I found Pink Pony Club like back in 2021, like right after it came out. And I was like, oh my God, you guys, listen to this crazy cool song that I found. And so I felt very proud that I introduced it to all my friends. And she and I DM'd a little bit because I was like, your song is so good. And she had like 14,000 followers.
Right.
And now she is Chapel Roan. She's great. I think.
To be her gay bestie.
I know. But I think her music is brilliant. I think it's so unapologetically her. And I think, again, like looking at a case study of how the world intercepts her, she is being held to this insane standard that I think female pop stars are held to that male pop stars are not. You know, she just was like banned from Brazil because the mayor was like, "You offended my daughter," and she posted a response being like, I actually didn't notice a girl come up to me at all. I didn't have my security with me. If someone went up and yelled at her, it wasn't my people." Like, it just is so
Right.
I
Oh,
have
is
a lot
this
of
the thing
empathy
where
for
like somebody
her.
approached her in a restaurant and she like
Mhm.
brushed it off and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I
she's a
honestly I
complex
I I
person.
like that she's speaking up for herself and kind of identifying the way that we treat famous people.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally can't imagine. Like, there are so many times in my life where I'm absolutely like completely and utterly deconstructed in the moment, and if some random person approached me, I'd be like, "Can you not tell that I'm having a breakdown? Leave me, or I will smite you." You know, like,
Okay. The voice.
right? You know,
The
yeah.
voice.
That wasn't even with my thing. That was just
I know.
that was natural. I don't
Yeah.
know, voice
Couldn't
acting.
imagine. Come on.
Um, you know, I couldn't deal
Yeah.
random people coming up at the strangest moments. Like I know my life. Like my boyfriend would break up with me and then like some
Mhm.
child would come up and be like, "Can I get your?" No,
Yeah.
no, there's no point in living.
Yeah. Fame is not good.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, but if you want a follow-up to Chapel,
Let's hear it.
Debbie Dawson.
Okay.
Debbie with 2 B's and I think 2 I's and then an E.
Yeah.
She's giving like a modern one woman ABBA, and she's so good.
Nice.
I
Okay.
do like to I like to say that I knew Hozier, Billie Eilish, and Chapel. I all sort of was on like the front end, and Debbie Dawson is my next prediction.
All right.
Yeah.
Debbie Dawson, you heard it here from Aiden. Here's my um I don't know that I've discovered this person, but like the Instagram that I keep getting fed that I like every time, and so I get more of it is. Have you heard of this? I think Instagram only artist called Too Crispy,
No.
Krispii,
2
two in the
eyes,
front. Okay,
2
I think
crispy.
so. Too Crispy presents as female,
Okay.
but has hinted that it is literally only because he wants to be anonymous and is
Hmm.
basically composing his music in his parents' basement, like living at home.
Interesting.
None of his family knows that he has this
Huh.
entire persona that is writing music and performing it in full glamour princess drag.
How interesting.
And the songs are dumb and catchy and
Okay.
funny. And like,
We have our
I'm
homework.
obsessed, like, officially
Great.
obsessed.
Okay, wait, then I'm gonna tag you with one more on the opposite side of that, which is a straight man making gay sex music, but not claiming to be gay. And his name is he has 2 personas. One is You're Pretty, which is pop, but the one I want you to listen to before next week is Dixon Dallas. Some of them are really good songs and like
Yeah.
heated rivalry levels of sex, maybe more.
Damn.
Yeah.
Dixon Dallas. He pretends to be a country star and it's, oh
Yeah,
my
he has
God.
like his real like straight sort of like grunge pop rock human persona.
Right.
You're Pretty, which is his gay pop persona, and then
Right.
Dixon Dallas, which is his country pop gay persona.
Right. And Dixon, he's got a song that's basically like, "Daddy put it in me, I want it all the
Mhm,
way," or something like that. Oh yeah,
mhm.
no, I know who you're
So
talking
good.
about.
So good.
Yeah, I mean, he's cute as hell, and
Mhm.
also the song is like, good God.
You're like, "Ooh, but it's so catchy."
Right, it is so singable, right? Like,
Yeah,
yes, I can sing this
yeah.
song about like, yeah, okay, I'm
Getting
in.
bread? Great.
Yeah, right,
Um,
right. That's what it is. It's like, yeah, breed me daddy or something like that.
yeah. Also, Joe in the chat says that hearing us talk about current music and culture is fun. So thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Aiden, this was so much fun. For not really
I
having a
know.
plan, this ended up being pretty fucking great.
Lawrence, we can talk for forever.
We could seriously
Yeah.
talk forever. I cannot wait to come to New York and be on your podcast and go see some
Yes,
fucking
ma'am.
shows.
Come on. Yeah.
It is in the works. It is in the works.
Beautiful.
All right, my friend. Thank you for this. Thanks everybody for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Love you, Mina. Bye. Oh, where's the end stream button? Oh no, where's my
Ugh.
mouse? Oh
Epilogue.
God.